Hello and welcome back. It is that time of the week again where we dive in to a feature highlight for Cities Skylines 2, and this is the one that I have been so excited for. This is all about economy and production. Now, you know that I have been going on about this every single video ever since they showed off a brief insight into some of the industries you can have. I am really hoping that they finally confirm that what we grow and what we utilize in our industries area directly goes to consumer in our city and probably trading outside of our city. We obviously know that that's going to be a huge part. Outside connections, not only bringing in buses, you can buy electricity, you can sell electricity. There is so much to see here, so much to see. And obviously after this, we'll jump into the little fact sheet on the Steam Workshop, just in case we've missed anything. But as always, thank you for being here. Just a little reminder, we are over halfway through, and we don't have that long until CS2 is out. So if you do want to catch any of my long-term project in Cities Skylines 1, completely modded, heavily asset-filled, we'll be doing that every Saturday, 3 p.m. BST, except for this week because I'm away. But you can feel free to catch up on any VODs on my YouTube. And yeah, let's jump right into this. I'm super excited.
They say money makes the world go round. It's as true in Cities Skylines 2 as it is in our world. Keep your city spinning by steering its economy on a course to prosperity. Your city's economic simulation is modeled on real-world economics. This introduces complexity and nuance to city building without making it complicated. The economic system in Cities Skylines 2 is actually engineered to help you grow your new city, and as it develops, to give you influence over the financial levers that generate wealth. You'll raise revenue by taxing the sale of goods and services, energy production, the extraction of raw materials, tourism, and more. You'll also tax private incomes, as healthy economic activity will mean jobs for citizens. With money in your city's coffers, you can invest in city services and infrastructure, schools and universities, and all the other engines of urban development. An important aspect of economic growth is balancing supply and demand. Businesses will do this automatically, exporting their goods when they produce more than the market wants. However, this can hit their bottom line as transport costs can reduce profitability. To keep the rate of production in line with demand, businesses will even fire employees. On the flip side, when products aren't made fast enough to meet local demand, companies in your city will be forced to buy from expensive outside connections, and that can quickly eat into profits too. Taxes can also influence the production rate of specific goods. You can slow the rate of production by raising taxes, lower taxes to accelerate production rates in more similar manufacturers to your city. It's also possible to motivate businesses to specialize in ways that strengthen the economy. Imagine reducing taxes for furniture stores and the various industries that manufacture their products. That will make them more profitable. More businesses specializing in the design and manufacture of furniture will crop up. Before you know it, your city will have a flourishing furniture trade and a reputation that keeps cash flowing in. Managing and adjusting production chains is another way you can influence your city's economy. Overhauled in Cities Skylines 2, this adds a whole new dimension to city building. There's no need to micromanage every detail if you don't want to. But if you love a puzzle, there's almost no limit to how deep you can go. Starting from raw material extraction, you can get raw materials into the city by importing them or producing them locally. Opt for local production, and you'll need to establish a specialized industry area. There are 9 total. 4 are farms where you can raise livestock or grow either grain, vegetables, or cotton. Forests produce timber, though how much depends on the age of the forest. You can extract ore, stone, or coal from underground deposits. And lastly, you can drill for oil. You'll manage all this activity via the economy panel. It puts your city's finances at a glance and allows you to monitor and adjust production outputs for various goods and materials. With integrated tools and clear displays, the economy panel is a user-friendly way to manage and grow your economy. So, if money really does make the world turn, How will you grow your city's economy so everyone in it can enjoy the ride?
Okay, a lot to take in on that video. Holy smoke. So even though they didn't confirm it directly, they did say that individual businesses can specialize in one of these industries. So I feel like even though they're not completely saying it, I feel like it's definitely confirmed now. So as always, let's go back through. I'm going to try and remember as we go through of what we've just seen, and hopefully then the Steam page will also confirm some bits. But yes, oh my god, there has been such an overhaul to industries, which I'm super excited about. Again, so we're not going to focus too much on the graphics on screen, only the info panels, because these maps we've seen countless times. We've seen these like the last 9-10 episodes now. The first one, which looks fantastic, is the economy panel. It's very well set up. And it's also really nice to see this under one roof. Beforehand, in CS1, we only had budget, loans, and taxation. Actually, I don't even think we had budget before. It's nice to have like a clear what's coming in, what's going out, because I feel like in CS1 it wasn't as good. But it's nice to see how easy it is to change all this, especially when we go into taxation. Drop-down menus are a fantastic thing, since we have different residential demand. We didn't really have it as detailed as this in CS1, where we could obviously only just have the 4 brackets. Well, 5 brackets technically if you include the high density and low density stuff. But here it looks like you've got taxation for each of them, which is wonderful, seeing as that has gone up now. I am curious though, because I know we've got 2 types of offices as well. It'd be nice to see if this also was either to do with the smaller compact offices or the larger ones. You guys see that as we go forward. Now, there was a little pop-up here. Let's have a look quickly. Industrial taxes are collected from companies' monthly profits. Tax rates can be set individually based on the different types of goods manufactured and sold. So we will see this drops down in a later stage. Just seeing if there's anything else here. Higher taxes also slow down industrial building level up. So it sounds like there's a direct influx of, well, or deflux, depending on how you look at it. So if you have higher taxes, it means that the growth of the city is actually not going to be as rapid, which is actually really an interesting thing to see. Okay, so let's flip forward. Here is the breakdown of the industrial. Obviously, we can see all the different types here. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have gone too far forward. I am so glad to see this more, because prior to this, we did not see electronics in here or vehicles. So it sounds like that our industries, much like CS1 was, where you could take the raw material and turn it into different factory components, it sounds like we can go one step further. If we can start supplying vehicles to our own cities, or our city's economy, the people, it's going to be a game changer. Because as always, people just spawn in with cars, people just spawn in with trucks, which is also another good point, that trucks, or how many trucks you use on the roads, are going to directly influence these industries, which is insane. I freaking love that. I really love how much they've overhauled this. It's nice to see that, because we also there was a screenshot earlier on in these feature highlights which only showed the farms being able to be dragged out in different ways. It looks like all industry areas are going to be able to be drag and drop rather than zoned, which is wonderful as well. And this was our first inclination of different companies are going to have different things. I'm not sure what Terrapus is. I'm going to assume that's what that says, Terrapus, like pterosaur. I'm not sure. But looking at the logo, who knows? It could be timber, like coming out. I'm not sure, but it looks like same with here. You got K-Pine, which looks like maybe a tech company. We've got CRI. What's that say? More? No idea what that is. Maybe a banking firm. We're unsure, but hopefully it'll bring in a bit more. Now this was interesting. Oh, so this was talking about obviously the money and the income you get can go on services, infrastructure. That was pretty obvious. That's how you grow your city. And then we had some more about factories. Pile Stack, that's obviously a timber company. Nice to see that model. Semi trucks look beautiful. We were worried if they were going to be a little bit more cartoony. definitely not. These look a lot more realistic in CS1. Well, most of the cars do, to be fair. And you can see, although my face is in the way, let me just quickly hide that. You can see that each of these actually has a specific weight limit, or how much they can carry, which is interesting. Also shows that this is obviously a furniture delivery store. Origin, I'm going to assume that this is exporting to an outside region, because I don't know what a Mazda is, and I don't know what Roham is. So it's either an import or an export, or both. It might just be bypassing the city, to be fair. We will not know. There we go. Okay, let's carry on going forward. Lovely shots. I love how much more realistic this game looks like. It's beautiful. Okay, here. So they were directly talking about the what's the word I'm looking for? Offices, buildings will actively fire people if they are not doing good enough. That is a feature that I don't think anyone would have expected, really. But it is very interesting to see. So I'm going to guess if they're poorly educated and get a job there, because maybe... Oh, actually, I didn't think about that. So beforehand, you had to be the specific education level to do that job. I'm wondering, maybe, say if you've got an office block and there's just not the demand for having highly educated citizens, they need to take undereducated citizens. Maybe that's just built into the base game now, which is wonderful. But that does mean that maybe some people are going to get fired if they're not properly ready for the for what's to come. I love this view. I love
fast enough to meet local demand. Companies in your city will be...
I love that. That train line going onto that bridge is beautiful. Okay, so here there's a lot of information here. So it's very clear that all these different things you can import and export to the city. But I've assumed that both of these would be in both of them. They're not. There are so many types that we just didn't even see. So we've got convenience food, we've got beverages, we've got normal food. So I'm going to guess maybe our citizens' food, and then maybe what we sell. We've got electronics, we've got chemicals, we've got textiles, we've also got furniture. We've got other chemicals, plastics, paper, financial, telecom, media, software, coal, machinery, steel. There is so much to industries that we just don't have a clue about in this. And it definitely sounds like what we make in our city is going to profit, is going to make our industries boom, make our what we sell so much easier to these outside connections. I am outstanded by this. I really am. Oh, hang on, there was a little pop-up there, wasn't there? Business import products and resources that are manufactured or produced locally. Importing costs makes manufacturing products more expensive. That makes sense. So if you don't have something in your region and you need to import it, that's fine. I also think that we're probably very similar to CS1. If we've got raw resources and we just deplete it, I don't think we'd be able to continue with that resource. I know that there were mods made for CS1 about that, but that can all change. So this is another going back onto the budget. Here we can see all of these things again. So much easier that we can change the tax for each of these different things. It's so good. You can clearly see, like, we're not making vegetables in the city or grain. This is a very highly manufactured city, which I love. I absolutely love that. Let's carry on. Fault Studios, again, going back onto this. Not too much here. These are interesting because I can see, like, signs and logos about, and I'm not entirely sure if these are shops. I'd assume that maybe this is a shop down here, maybe this is an office. Actually, this is probably one of those mixed buildings. We probably have shops on the bottom and apartments on top, because that is a fantastic introduction. Let's have a look here. So just behind my head, it has employees, it sells. Okay, so this is literally just an office building. This is just an office building. It's not mixed use, which is probably one of our first ones we've seen of this size. Here is a furniture store. So I was wrong about that. I was wrong. Well, actually, is this... I'm trying to have a look. I'm going to hide my head again. 1 second. I'm trying to figure out if this is an office or a shop. I think it's a shop, because you can see this little blue icon here. I think that's commercial. I think that's... I've got a feeling that's commercial, which does mean you can see here this company sells furniture, which in turn means that I was correct. Shops are going to open and sell the things that you produce in the city or what you import in the city. This is huge. Absolutely astonishing. Okay, so here we can see the natural resources again, which we've already seen. It's good to see so much variety, though. Here is... okay, so this is where I was wondering where this was going to go. Services and economy. We've been able to deal with budgets for these things beforehand, except for communications. We all know that's new to the game. So it's good to see where this is, and it's all under one tab as well. I do love that. And then production, you can clearly see... Oh, hang on. Here we go. Material goods, immaterial goods, and then materials. So I'm going to assume now there's probably 3 stages of production. You have your raw materials, you have your things that directly come from that, so wood into planks, and then we have immaterial, which is probably planks into furniture. So it's good to see that. That's pretty fucking good. Sorry, I shouldn't swear. And yeah, so then you can see, because this is going on to how fine detailed you want to go into it. You don't need to micromanage it, but you absolutely can. So it says like processing, we're importing to make concrete, and then we're exporting it. So it's really nice to see how much diversity that we have when it comes to this sort of stuff. It's nice to see like these little farmlands. It's very cute. It's good to see all these little screenshots. And I think first time we're looking at the loans tab as well. Okay, so it is just a singular loan that we can take out now. We don't need to choose between the 3, but we can choose how much we need. It does look like there's a borrow more option. I'm not sure what that would be, but that is quite good to see. And then here you can see the breakdown of each individual band of residential. Okay, very interesting stuff. Let's jump on over to Cities Skylines 2 in the Steam Workshop, and let's see what they have put out about this. Okay, so again, I will skim through this momentarily. There is a lot to read here. Good lord. I mean, it was probably one of the ones that everyone was excited for. But this looks like, okay, so it's a general sum up of how this works and why they've done it differently this time around. Let's go through. Okay, so households look for homes in favorable locations that have workspaces, schools, leisure locations. Fairly similar to CS1. While small families are satisfied in smaller apartments, high density and low renting housing areas. Fine. It's all good. Households go shopping when the AI detects that there is a lack of resources. It then creates the household members and their product preferences and chooses a product based on their preference weights. So it sounds like there's going to be different things that they want in the game, and I imagine that would be answered a little bit more in the Citizen Life Path dev diary that we've got coming up. Also, let me make this bigger. So that's interesting to see. All these decisions are made to maximize the household's happiness, and the suitability of the household's apartments is calculated by adding together the pathfinding costs to their various destinations. This has been overhauled so much. So much. If the household can't pay for the rent and upkeep of the apartment, they look for other available apartments. There sounds like there's so much more automation to this game, but on just a scale that we wouldn't really begin to imagine. If the household is very poor and unable to find a new apartment and lacks funds to leave the city, they become homeless. So I don't obviously like the idea of homeless. Homelessness is a huge problem around the world, but it's good to see how they're bringing real life into this game a bit more. So that's interesting as well. Find suitable in this case, they can live in the city parks until their living situation has changed. Wow. Okay. Industry. Good lord, this is a long bit of text. I probably should have read this before the video itself. Okay. Companies order resources used to manufacture products, and when they estimate the suitability of a location for their business, they take into account the transportation costs. That we kind of knew already, but it's good to see that's confirmed. Transport cost is calculated by the distance and the weight of the resource. For example, metal weighs more than textiles. Similar to resources the distances to the industrial company's customers, resellers, and commercial. There is so much to take in here. So much to take in here. When the company is looking for workers, the complexity level of the production is taken into account as it affects the requirements for employee education levels. Some companies function well with employees with low education levels, whilst others require adequately educated workers to increase their efficiency. So it sounds like, as well, if they need really efficient staff, they will hire highly educated people. Lower educated people that I'm gonna take a guess aren't as efficient, which is quite good, which is obviously why that there needs to be a huge educational demand in the city, which is great. They seek to maximize their income by finding the optimal number of employees given the current prices and resources, products and brought and products sold. Employee wages, that's new in the game. We haven't really seen that before. Transportation costs we knew of. And they scale up the production, hire more workers. So essentially, for these businesses to succeed and grow, they take in everything that you can think of where it comes to the economy. They take in the wages, the transport costs, the import costs if they're doing it, probably the fuel costs, because we know that's a huge part of the game. And I imagine, because we've already seen stuff about the traffic AI as well, they will determine the easiest route around the city specifically for them. They probably won't base it off the environment around them. They'll probably look at what's the quickest route to get in and out of the city. Some of the industrial zone buildings are warehouses, so that's going to act very similarly as it did in CS1. But when resources are brought from outside connections, they're transported to these warehouses. So that's also good, because I don't think that was an option before. I think you had to get cargo trains or boats to deliver them, and then they'd go into your city. So it's nice to know that they can use that as well. Commercial companies need products to sell. Okay, so that is the confirmation. That is the confirmation right there, that your industries are directly not only affecting your commercial companies, but your office companies as well, which is great. Similar to industrial companies, commercial companies take transportation costs into account. That's absolutely fine. They look for customers, service workforce in the same way as industrial and office companies do. Citizens who live nearby and who are suitable education levels are the best options. So no more people from one side of the city traveling over to the other side of the city just because their office is there. It's now taking into fact where they live, their education level as well, which is really cool. And then I imagine this is fairly similar to office companies. Let's just quick skim through. The employees are the engine behind production, and it's important that the companies find suitable employees. Yeah, so exactly the same thing. Good. Oh no. There's so much text here. So, types of production. We have the extracting, which is pretty self-explanatory. This is how you get the raw materials out of the ground, whether that's mining, whether that's oil drilling, whether that's growing your crops. They've been through that, which is good. Into the products at the end of the... actually, let's just check this. The zoned industry requires resources that can either be imported from outside connections or gained from specialized industry areas. Yes. Additionally, the offices function as manufacturing companies, but instead of producing materials goods, they produce immaterial goods. Offices require more educated workers. Okay, what are immaterial goods? Because they haven't really gone into that yet. At the end of the production chain, all of the produced resources and goods find their way to the end customer, whether they are households in your city or outside connections. Yes! I freaking love that. They turn goods... no, wait, that's bad English. They turn the... Oh, no, that was just my fault. They turn the goods they buy into products that the households then buy to fill the resources and leisure demand. I love that. Okay, so the factors that come into production: price, weight, and space. Didn't think space was going to come into that. Space is affects the profitability of these resources. Some resources require more space for manufacturing than others, and companies that manufacture resources that take up large amounts of space prefer to be located in areas where the land value is low. Now that's an interesting factor. That is an interesting factor. Okay, specialized industries. Okay, let's have a look very quickly. I think they touched on it anyway. Let's have a look. So, fertile land, forest, oil, and ore. They are pretty much base game. They also have livestock farming, stone, which is very interesting. And we knew about oil and ore. We have grain. We have so many types here. Jesus, cotton, vegetable. There is a huge amount there. There's a huge amount there. Okay, going into the economy panel. How long is this? Okay, not too bad. Not too bad. The economy panel. Okay, so we did have a quick deep dive on this, and I'm pretty sure this is just going to re-explain what we've already seen. Loans, let's have a quick deep dive on loans. Loans work a bit differently than Cities Skylines. Instead of taking one off free, there is now only one loan available, but the loan is adjustable. Okay, that's good. Confirmed. You can repay the already existing loan or increase its size to take out even more money. I love that. I do love that. I imagine, yeah, the loan interest rate can be reduced by building the city hall and the central bank. So it sounds like there are options to lower the interest as well, depending on how you build your city, which is great. And then the tax for each service, this seems pretty self-explanatory. The service budget can range from 50 to 150. Now that has been lowered, because I do believe you could go up to 200 in the base game. But that just means that you are going to have to take your city building more. It needs to be more thought out, essentially. It needs to be more thought out. I do wonder how that's going to affect. So they did say with some services like hospitals and stuff, there is no need to continuously place loads around now. You just have a central one that everyone goes to, and you upgrade it to handle more capacity. But I am wondering if, say, if you reach max capacity on one hospital and you can't increase the healthcare budget up to 200 anymore, is the one hospital going to be enough anymore? I'm not entirely sure. Maybe we'll have to have a look into that a bit further. Or maybe they'll announce it in their extra dev diary. We'll see. And then a little bit more about production. You can observe each of the materials, material goods, and immaterial goods your city is producing. Love that. Wood is also used for heating, and it can be further sold to processing companies or be exported. Now, that's one thing we haven't really seen about. We know from the weather feature highlight last time that snow is going to be an issue, and when snowstorms hit, the electricity prices go up because of heating. We didn't know how heating was going to come into the city, so it sounds like fire. Wood is one way of creating heating. So we're not entirely sure if it is the only way yet. We'll try and find something else about that. So with all this information, you gain a deeper understanding of what your city is consuming and how much your already existing industry is producing. They'll help you plan your city and transportation more effectively, which in turn can help reduce traffic, provide more tax income on your city to realize your dreams. We hope this look into the economic simulation Cities Skylines 2 has given you some ideas of how you can specialize your city. There is so much to break down there. This has already been probably one of my longest videos for this, and there is still so many more to come. Next one is August 21st. Game progression. I feel like we've seen a little bit about this, like the tech trees that you can unlock as you go through. We've already seen a glimpse of, but hopefully that'll come in more. And there are 4 left. 4 left. I am very surprised that they didn't continue these once up until the release date. I really didn't. But 4 left to get our acts together. Good lord. Well, as always, thank you for being here. And feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. And otherwise, I will see you next Monday to look at game production. Production? That was we're on economy and production. Game progression. I was about to say projection. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.